Hello, my name is Omanji Sinkala, and today we're talking about how to come up with song ideas. So basically I've written over 1,000 songs and recorded and released, or currently I'm about to hit 300 songs on Spotify. Whee! Perfect. That's dope. Anyway, I've released a lot of songs. And the song ideas have always been, sometimes I do this, like, I've always been like, something that I've always had to do, like come up with song ideas. And how do I come up with them? Like, here are some of the things that you've done to come up with song ideas. Sometimes life, like number one, life, like use life, like a small point, like what happened in your life? Like, how was your day? Did you have a shitty day? Make a song about that. How did you find, what's going on in your life right now? Did you get a new job? Did you get fired from work? Did you get a heartbreak? What happened? You know, like, what did you see that God was fun? You know, like, those are some ideas that actually, like, people can relate to, because it's real life, you've been through it, and I bet you someone else also has been through the same thing. Those are real, like those are emotional stuff that touches people. Like, find just life. Life is one of the broadest, like one of the biggest areas, like buckets you can pick on, like for as far as song ideas. You know what I mean? You have to get the idea. You can also think of like how you want to tell that idea. And another thing that I would be like, okay, like it's more like fictional, or basically, like, you have an idea, you have a message you want to convey, and put it in a story that isn't actually your story. That can be someone else's story. That's okay. Storytelling, the main component is storytelling. That's another great source of inspiration. Some of the best songs we've ever heard are actually stories, but they're not told in the conventional way, whereby like it has a beginning and an end, like that. Because like the arrangement does differ on how they did. Like, sometimes it's just four bars might be the entire story. You know what I mean? Like, that's how the music has been diversified these days. Like, just leave it subject matter. Be comfortable with subject matters, like, and number three, just an emotion. An emotion is enough for you to go on to create multitudes of songs, multitudes, countless of songs. Just the emotion. Like, you know, imagine like how would you describe just being sad in your room, like being sad? How you would describe being sad in your room? For example, you would go like, this sadness I'm feeling right now is comparable to whatever, to like, I don't know, like, it's not really fiction. It's all about like, how can you convey? It's like poetry, for example. How can you convey? How can you communicate it, the way you are feeling? What does it feel to be that sad in your room? Does it feel like being tied to a rock and left to sink? You know what I mean? Like, is that how low you really are? You need to be. Does it feel like falling with no one to catch you? Does it feel like you are lost and hope is far from sight? Does it feel like you are in a dark place with no sign of light? I mean, does it feel like an abyss that was just meant for you? Does it feel like you are caged and have no idea of where the key might be? I'm just giving you an example of like how you can actually say the same thing in different ways and just try to like convey, like, okay, I'm in pain right now, and it feels like my heart just got pierced. It feels like I'm, you know what I mean? It feels like this. It feels like this. Yeah. So emotions are really strong. Like, how can you convey happiness? Like, don't limit yourself to like what everyone is doing. Like, surely you can make it, like, I don't know, maybe you're just like that happy wherever, like, you want to flex about something going great. You made something, I don't know what you did. And get something fun if you're coming up with song ideas. Have the end in mind. Having the end in mind is pretty cool, because you know what you're building up to. Have the end. You might have like a reward. Like, what are they staying for? It's a storyline, like, or like what is the theme for the song? You know what I mean? That's what hook. Like, that's what the hook is usually like. Usually just amplifying. Like, this is what the song is about. and I've heard hooks that just like contrary to the like this hook is just like metaphor, just a feel good vibe, or just absolute silence, and then the verses are what like tell the story. Yeah. So be creative, figure out the arrangement of the song, and also what my favorite writing method is just putting down the first line, having the most like writing down the most random line ever. Like you only think of the first bar, like you don't really think about the first bar. You just write that and then try to build off that and see where it leads you. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's like it's risky business. If you've been time if you, but like I've actually had to freestyle a lot, so I'm comfortable like writing a song on the spot with no prior information to like prior planning for the song, because I've actually had to practice coming up with ideas about it over time. And it's for trying to make a song for like mostly when you're on a track, and if there is a hook, draw inspiration from the hook, come up with the hook first and draw inspiration from that, because that hook will give you what the song is about, will give you a theme of what the song is about. Yeah, so that's why hooks are really important. So they'll give you what the theme is about, and if it's just a song with no hook, figure out what it's all about. Okay? Don't limit yourself to the norms. You can feel free to get inspiration from different times, from the old days. Like sometimes you just have to view the same situation in a different way. Like how would a serial killer just view this? Like how would the bystander just view this? Or like how like sometimes like role playing is kind of awesome as a writer. Like I've had to like sometimes be someone else just to properly tell the story. Like okay, how would it be if I was the victim in this story? Okay, like what about in my life? Like sometimes you have to be different characters, and actually it takes time. Like, just sit there, just feel like okay, if this was actually happening to me, like put yourself in that position, like and tell that story from that point of view. You know what I mean? If you work at a store and you go robbed, and like how would that be experience? How would that experience be from your point of view? Would that freak you out? Like what's on your life is on the line. The guy is pointing at you, and like what is the view from his point of view? Like probably he needs that money for like he really needs that money for him to pull up at me like this. You know what I mean? Like what is he going through? What might he? And give that a story, and that's the songwriter right there. Like it's okay for me. It's the finding the stories, and that's fulfilling. The creative part, that's fulfilling. It's not about, it's the creative part that's fulfilling. Like try to find new ways and don't stick to the same methods, although they might work. Try to figure out how to reinvent the wheel, because like after you do the same thing over and over, you will get bored. You will not want to do it anymore. Try to figure out, like I've written like I feel like every now and then I'm always approaching a song in a way that I've never approached any of my prior songs before that, because I know like I always have to keep on making like finding this uncomfortable place. Okay, like this is where because that's fulfilling. I find that fulfilling for me. Like to just like go into places where I've never done that before, but I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So be ready to try new stuff. Be ready to convey your messages in different ways. Be ready to make subject matters that you wouldn't normally talk about. And and another thing is, don't be afraid to reveal like personal revealing stuff, and don't be afraid to put yourself on the spotlight. I mean, there is certain ways you can do it. That ways like okay, it's cool. I've seen like a little great artists do that, and I've actually done that in a couple of songs where I was open up with things about me that no one should know about, but I just do that. You know what I mean? And another cool way is metaphors. Metaphors are amazing because you can actually tell people like this is what I'm going through without actually telling them this is what I'm going through. You just like, you know what I mean? That seems like a metaphor right there. Like you can actually tell instead of telling people what you want, what you mean, without actually telling them what you mean. It's like you really just give them a hint and they have to figure out the rest. Metaphors are amazing. Yeah, and that's just some of the tips. There are limitless ways of writing songs, limitless ways of writing songs. So coming up with song ideas. So just share a few. And my name is Omanji Sinkala. Subscribe, like, and share the video. Thank you for watching. And check out my music on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever streaming platform you usually use. Omanji Sinkala, Omanji Sinkala, 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 Omanji Sinkala. Thank you. Much love. Subscribe, leave a like, and I'm out.